In the quiet folds of time, temples once rose like whispers of the divine, their walls kissed by sunlight and shadow. Soft winds carry tales of devotion and loss, of sacred spaces touched by both creation and destruction. Tonight, let us drift gently through these stories, where even the echoes of conflict become a lullaby for the soul. We will wander through ancient lands, where incense mingled with dust, and silent stones remember both reverence and strife. Feel the calm settle around you, as the spirit moves slowly through centuries of devotion, ritual, and transformation. Let us breathe together, letting the gentle cadence of history cradle us. In these tales of temple wars and sacred destruction, you may find not fear, but a serene reflection on the endurance of faith, the beauty in impermanence, and the quiet strength of human spirit. If you find peace in these stories, let your presence be known below. Comment where you're listening from, or simply close your eyes and drift with us. Subscribe quietly, so more gentle journeys can find their way to your evening calm. Soft light stretches across the temple walls, spilling over carved stones and ancient steps. The morning is quiet, yet full of whispers. Each pillar holds a memory, each stone remembers the hands that shaped it long ago. You float slowly through the air, carried by the soft warmth of dawn. The world feels still, as if it is pausing to watch the sun rise. A gentle breeze curls around the corners of the temple courtyard. It brushes against the hanging incense, lifting its faint, sweet aroma into the calm morning air. The scent drifts like a song, and your spirit moves with it, following the trail as it winds between shadow and light. Tiny birds hop along the edges of the water basin, their soft chirps a delicate rhythm, echoing against the stone walls. They do not hurry. Their small movements seem to remind the air itself to linger. The first worshippers arrive, barefoot and quiet. Their steps fall lightly on the worn stones. Their hands lift small bells and burn incense, sending gentle smoke spiraling upward. You drift closer and notice the patterns of light on their faces. The soft golden glow of the sun touches their cheeks and folds of their garments. There is no rush here, only the calm repetition of ritual, a slow heartbeat of devotion that carries over centuries. The temple doors stand open, and inside, shadows stretch across the carved walls. Figures of gods and goddesses, animals and symbols stare silently, as though waiting for the day to begin. You can feel the weight of these carvings, not heavy but steady, grounding. Each one holds a story in its shape. Each curve of stone is a gentle note in a song that never ends. The wind brings in the faint sound of a distant drum, soft and round, echoing in the wide hall. It is steady like a heartbeat, like the earth itself breathing. Outside, the water in the small fountain shimmers, reflecting the first light. The surface is calm, broken only by the gentle ripple of a falling leaf or the soft touch of a bird dipping in. You drift close to the surface, watching the reflections of pillars, clouds, and the early sun. The water seems to hold the memory of all the days before, each ripple a reminder of past devotion, of prayers whispered in quiet voices. It moves slowly, like time itself, patient and gentle. From the courtyard, you hear soft murmurs of chants. They are not loud or commanding, but low and tender, weaving through the air like threads of silk. Words flow from lips with reverence, curling around the temple like smoke. You notice the small things, the tilt of a head, the slow folding of hands, the steady, calm breathing of those who have come to offer their morning devotion. Each movement is measured, like the pulse of the earth beneath the temple stones. The sun climbs higher, brushing warmth over the carvings on the walls. Shadows retreat, stretching thin and long, only to fold back again as the sun moves. Light kisses the faces of stone deities, and in that soft glow, they seem alive, gentle watchers of the day. The wind shifts, and the sound of leaves rustling is a quiet conversation between trees and air. The temple breathes with all that surrounds it: earth, sky, water, stone. In one small corner, a single flower blooms in a pot near the wall. Its petals are soft and pale, trembling lightly in the breeze. You drift close and notice its delicate pattern, each one perfectly shaped. It is simple, yet profound, a quiet miracle amidst the stillness. The flower leans toward the light as all living things do, and you can feel the slow energy of growth moving through it, unhurried, calm. Soft footsteps echo down a corridor lined with mosaics and carved panels. The patterns tell stories, ancient tales of devotion, journeys, and divine encounters. You move along with the sound, your spirit following without effort like a feather drifting on the air. The figures in the mosaic seem to breathe with the sun's warmth, their eyes soft, welcoming, patient. You feel that this place has watched centuries pass, quietly holding memory without judgment, only presence. The small bells in the courtyard ring again, delicate and light. Their song floats upward, mingling with the wind and the soft morning chants. You notice the interplay of sound and air, how the vibrations touch each stone, each leaf, each droplet of water. Even in movement, everything feels gentle, like a slow dance. Time here is measured not by hours, but by the rhythm of light, air, and devotion. A monk walks through the courtyard, his robe brushing the ground softly. He carries nothing but a simple staff and a small bowl. Each step seems careful, as if he is listening to the stones themselves. You drift beside him, feeling the calm that follows in his wake. Even his breath is steady, slow, a mirror to the rhythm of the temple. The temple itself seems to lean in, listening, welcoming his presence as part of the long story held in stone. The wind shifts again, carrying distant mountain scents and faint hints of jasmine. You close your awareness around this, letting it fill your mind like a gentle wave. Nothing rushes here, nothing presses. Only the calm, steady pulse of devotion, the patient stillness of stone and water, and the soft, endless light of dawn. A small bell tolls somewhere further back in the temple. Its sound is soft, almost swallowed by the morning air, yet it lingers, weaving through arches and over rooftops. You drift closer, feeling its resonance in your chest. Each note is a gentle touch, a reminder of presence, of continuity, of the quiet care that stretches across centuries. Through the open doorway, light spills onto a mosaic of tiles. Each tile tells its own story, quiet and still. Patterns of stars, rivers, and flowering vines are carved and painted with care. The light moves over them slowly, revealing details in a rhythm that feels almost like breathing. You drift along with the light, tracing each curve and line, feeling the slow patience of hands that worked long ago, shaping beauty into permanence. From above, the wind carries the faintest echo of a temple drum. It is soft, hollow, slow, like the heartbeat of the earth. You let it sink into your own chest, feeling your breath match its rhythm. In this moment, you are carried along with the morning itself, with the slow unfolding of day, with the gentle continuity of devotion and memory. Soft shadows fall again as clouds drift across the sun. The light dims slightly, folding gently over the courtyard. You notice the birds have quieted, the water ripples slower, and the incense smoke curls more delicately into the air. The temple sighs softly with the day, a slow exhale of calm. Even the stones seem warmer now, holding the light and the quiet together in a gentle embrace. A small child enters barefoot, holding a flower in trembling hands. They place it at the base of a statue, bowing softly. You drift closer to watch, feeling the pure simplicity of this act. It is quiet, almost invisible, yet it carries the weight of all devotion. No words are spoken, but the gesture alone fills the courtyard with a subtle, golden calm. The wind carries a soft whisper through the temple corridors. It speaks not with sound, but with feeling, an invitation to rest, to linger, to let go of the day's cares. You follow this whisper, drifting through the arches, around the pillars, along the mosaic floors. Every corner holds peace. Every stone hums with quiet presence. As the sun climbs higher, you find yourself moving toward the central sanctuary. The doors are open, and within, the statues of the gods and guardians glow softly in the morning light. You feel their gaze, not heavy or demanding, but gentle, welcoming, patient. They have watched countless dawns, and now they watch this one, carrying you in a calm, unbroken circle of quiet devotion. The soft scent of incense, the distant hum of the drum, the flicker of light across carved stone, all of it weaves together. You float slowly, feeling the rhythm of this sacred space, the slow pulse of history, and the tender patience of countless spirits who have passed before. Time here does not hurry. Time simply exists, gentle, calm, enduring. Now the light of the morning spreads fully over the courtyard. The bells are still, the water calm, the incense smoke curling lazily into the sky. You feel a deep, gentle peace settle over you, as if the temple itself is holding you in its quiet embrace. The stones whisper softly to one another, and you drift with them, carried on the calm breath of dawn. Let us drift onward, moving with the slow pulse of this sacred place. Let us linger among the carved pillars, the gentle fountains, the soft light on worn stones. And now, rest as the stars return to memory, and the day moves softly around the quiet heart of the temple. The morning light lingers gently across the temple walls, soft and pale, brushing over carved stones and quiet courtyards. You drift slowly, carried by a wind that smells faintly of incense and earth. The temple stands calm, but beyond its walls the world shifts. Shadows lengthen and touch places where devotion and power meet, where calm meets tension. Still, the heart of the temple remains steady, like a quiet river beneath the stars. In the distant fields, the first echoes of approaching footsteps ripple softly through the grass. You hear them as a murmur, not loud, not frightening, merely a presence brushing against the edges of the temple's calm. The walls seem to hum gently, absorbing these distant sounds, transforming them into soft vibrations that move slowly through the stone. The carvings on the pillars seem to watch without judgment, their shapes catching the light like reflections in still water. A single bell rings in the courtyard, not sharp or loud, but round and clear. Its sound stretches over the temple, over the gardens, over the small stone paths. Each tone is a wave, carrying the prayers of those who came early, those who have come for centuries. Even as the wind carries distant stories of disruption, the bell holds a circle of calm around the temple, reminding every stone and leaf of the quiet devotion within. You drift closer to the inner hall. Soft incense curls in lazy spirals, the smoke touching each carved figure and painted panel. Here, even the smallest movement is gentle. The lift of a hand, the slow bow, the brushing of robes across stone floors. You notice the patterns of light shifting across the walls, highlighting gods, guardians, and animals carved long ago. They hold their calm, steady and soft, even as whispers of unrest reach the edges of the courtyard. The first winds of conflict are not loud. They move softly, carrying with them the scent of distant fires and the faint murmur of marching feet. They brush the temple gates and touch the edges of prayer mats. Yet, as you float through the temple, you notice something unbroken. The spirit of the place, quiet and steady, holding the accumulated devotion of countless souls. Light and shadow meet here, but the temple does not tremble. Only the edges of the world around it shift. Through the open archways, you glimpse worshippers moving in slow rhythm. Their chants rise and fall gently, low and continuous. Each voice folds into the next, forming a calm tide that moves over stone floors and under carved ceilings. You drift among them, feeling the softness of their devotion, the quiet patience in each bow, each folded hand. Outside, the soft murmur of approaching forces touches the walls, but inside, the calm heart holds firm. The sun climbs slowly, scattering light over the garden paths. Leaves stir in the wind, a gentle rustling that speaks of both motion and stillness. You notice how even in the presence of unrest, the temple keeps its own rhythm. Fountains ripple gently, flowers lean toward the sun, small birds circle above, undisturbed. The air carries the faintest hint of jasmine and dust, mingling like a gentle lullaby. A distant drum begins, low and hollow. Its sound is not sharp, not alarming, but soft, like the slow pulse of the earth. It vibrates through the temple stones, through the courtyards, over the gardens. You feel its rhythm as a subtle echo in your chest, slow and steady. Even as the world beyond the walls stirs with tension, the drum seems to measure a different time, a slower, calmer pace, guiding all within toward quiet endurance. Through a quiet corridor, you drift past statues of deities carved in stone. Their faces are serene, eyes closed or gazing softly forward. They have seen the coming and going of countless days, the passing of storms and the rise of new sunlight. In their calm, you feel a reassurance, a gentle reminder that even when the world shifts, there is a place untouched, where prayer and devotion persist without hurry. Outside, shadows move across the outer walls. The air carries the soft brush of footsteps, the quietest touch of banners swaying, the lightest stir of dust. You notice how the light and shadow play together across the stones, one edge bright, the other dim, folding gently over arches and rooftops. Even the smallest detail seems significant here, teaching patience in its quiet way. A worshiper kneels by a fountain, hands folded, eyes soft with meditation. The water reflects the sky and the distant trees, a mirror of calm. You drift closer, feeling the ripples spread outward, each one absorbing a little of the tension from the air, smoothing it over the stones. The fountain murmurs softly, a song of endurance, a gentle lull that invites slow, deep breathing. The incense smoke swirls around you, carrying whispers of old prayers, old chants, old devotion. It rises slowly, curling over carved reliefs and polished stone floors, lifting the stories of the faithful into the air. You follow the smoke, letting it guide you through shadowed hallways and sunlit courtyards. Even as the edges of conflict approach, the temple itself remains soft and unshaken. A small bird alights on a pillar, tilting its head and watching. Its wings are folded, its breath slow, almost invisible. You drift beside it, feeling the gentleness of its presence. Its eyes seem to catch the light of the sun, reflecting the calm persistence of life within the temple. Outside, the wind shifts again, carrying the distant rustle of movement, but here, in this small space, everything remains steady. The carved doors sway lightly in the wind, brushing against the walls with a soft, hollow sound. You drift through them, past patterned floors and painted ceilings. Each detail seems to hold a memory, not heavy but luminous in its stillness. Shadows lengthen across the corridors, touching each surface like a delicate hand. Light and dark meet here not in conflict, but in balance, soft and gentle, inviting your mind to rest. A bell rings again, soft and round, carrying across the courtyard. Its sound gathers the morning, gathering both devotion and calm, pulling them together like gentle waves. You notice how even the smallest sound moves slowly, filling corners, brushing stones, settling into the spaces where shadows linger. The bell reminds the world that even as forces brush at the edges, there is stillness at the center, stillness you can rest within. Outside, a gentle wind lifts petals from the garden, letting them drift lazily across the stone paths. Each petal lands softly, untouched by urgency, carried only by the rhythm of air. You drift with them, feeling the gentle motion, the patience of nature, the slow, unbroken continuity of all life. Even the distant stir of shadow seems less troubling when seen through this quiet lens. The sunlight warms the temple floor, and you notice the tiny glint of gold on carved details, the way light moves across sculpted surfaces. Each shadow folds gently, each reflection holds a memory of devotion. You float through these spaces, letting the soft contrast of light and shadow cradle you, like the slow rocking of a boat on calm waters. A monk walks through the inner courtyard, carrying a small bowl and a bundle of incense. Each step is measured, slow, gentle. The scent of incense mingles with the sun and stone, forming a soft cocoon of calm. You follow his movement, feeling the quiet steadiness in the rhythm of his pace. Even the edges of tension outside the temple cannot disturb this careful, tender calm. The wind shifts once more, brushing lightly through the open doors. It carries distant sounds, soft whispers of movement, faint echoes of the world beyond. But within the temple there is only gentle resonance, a continuity of light and stone, of incense and water, of prayer and presence. You float slowly, letting these sensations fill you, matching your breathing to the rhythm of the calm space. The sun reaches its morning height, brushing warmth over the walls. The fountains, the carved statues. Shadows are soft, gentle, folding in on themselves without hurry. The temple holds all these moments together in quiet continuity, a space unbroken, untouched, patient. You feel the pulse of this calm, the deep, slow breathing of stone, air, and devotion, carrying you gently onward. Let us drift onward, moving through light and shadow, through quiet walls and gentle stones. Let us linger with the soft hum of bells, the slow ripple of water, the tender curl of incense smoke. Now rest as the stars return to memory and the temple's calm folds around you, carrying you gently into peace. The morning sun stretches slowly over the temple ruins, soft and golden, brushing over edges worn by time. You drift gently among broken walls and scattered tiles, feeling the quiet pulse of the stones beneath your presence. Each fallen fragment seems to carry a memory, not heavy or bitter, but calm and reflective, like the residue of dreams left in morning light. A faint wind moves through the courtyards, carrying with it the scent of charred wood and the faint perfume of jasmine from surviving gardens. You float with it, following the gentle path it makes, brushing softly against the stones and crumbling pillars. Even among broken walls, the temple seems to breathe. It exhales slowly, welcoming the day and the quiet attention of those who still visit its edges. Shattered bells hang from frames, swaying lightly in the morning breeze. Their clinking is soft and irregular, a slow, fractured melody. You drift close to listen. Each tone seems to whisper the passage of time, a lullaby that tells of devotion and loss, of hands that rang them long ago, and of those who now remember. There is no sorrow here, only a gentle reflection, a calm awareness that beauty remains even in imperfection. The sunlight glints on tiles broken but still polished by centuries of footsteps. You notice the subtle patterns, the curves and shapes that endure despite damage. The stone walls, blackened by fire in the past, hold shadows that move like soft water. You drift among these shapes, feeling the quiet stories embedded in each crack and crevice. Even in decay, there is life, and even in ruin, there is calm. A small fountain, cracked but still flowing, murmurs softly in the courtyard. Water trickles over stones, whispering as it moves, carrying with it the echoes of chants once heard within these walls. The sound is delicate, almost like a sigh, and you drift closer, letting it fill your ears and heart with gentle rhythm. The movement of the water mirrors the slow pulse of your own breath, steady and calm. The shadows of trees lean across broken tiles, moving with the wind. Leaves tremble and fall, drifting like soft memories onto the paths. You notice how the light and shadow play together, tracing patterns that shift slowly across the walls. Each step you drift is measured, almost imperceptible, yet full of quiet significance. The temple, even in its fractured state, seems to hold a gentle order, a stillness that balances the surrounding change. In the distance, a single bell tolls, clear and soft, though it is chipped and worn. Its resonance spreads across the courtyard and over the broken tiles. You float with the sound, noticing how it travels through the empty spaces, filling them with a delicate calm. The echo reminds you that every sound leaves a trace, every gesture leaves a memory, and the temple remembers them all with patience and care. A monk moves slowly along the pathway, feet brushing against the cracked stones. He carries nothing but a simple staff and a small bowl. Each movement is deliberate and unhurried, a soft echo of the rhythm of the temple. You drift beside him, noticing the way his eyes linger on the carvings that remain, the way he touches the stones lightly, as if listening to the whispers of the past. Soft winds carry the faintest smell of incense, rising from small offerings left in sheltered corners. The smoke twists and curls in the sunlight, forming delicate patterns that reach for the sky. You follow the movement, letting it guide you through shadowed arches and open courtyards. Even the air seems alive with calm, carrying the presence of devotion across spaces touched by fire and time. The outer walls, though cracked, still hold the essence of the past. Sunlight filters through broken arches, illuminating tiles patterned with stars, rivers, and flowers. You drift slowly along these patterns, noticing the care that went into each detail. Even as edges crumble, the intention remains, a soft testimony to persistence and quiet beauty. A small bird perches on a fallen pillar, tilting its head and watching. Its feathers catch the light as it preens slowly, unconcerned by the scattered ruins. You float closer, feeling the gentle patience in its movements. The bird, like the temple, moves with calm resilience, a quiet presence amidst what has shifted and fallen. From a distant courtyard, faint echoes of chanting drift through the air. The voices are soft, broken by space and time, yet they reach your ears like ripples across water. You follow the sound, feeling its gentle rhythm wrap around your mind. Even among ruins, devotion finds a way to persist, carrying a quiet melody of continuity and peace. The wind shifts, lifting dust and petals from the garden beds. They drift lazily through the broken halls, brushing softly against fallen tiles and stones. You float with them, carried along by the gentle motion. Each movement seems unhurried, measured only by the slow passage of sunlight and air. Even in remnants of destruction, the temple remains a vessel of calm. A candle flickers in a small shrine tucked beneath a half-collapsed arch. Its light dances across the cracked walls, soft and warm. You drift closer, feeling the gentle pull of its glow. The flame is small yet persistent, and it casts shadows that move like slow water. In the flickering light, the space seems alive, breathing with a quiet patience that is older than memory. Broken statues lean against walls, their features softened by time and fire. You notice the gentle curves of their faces, the way their eyes, though chipped, seem to hold a calm gaze. You drift slowly past them, feeling their presence not as loss, but as endurance. The spirit of the temple continues here, in every fragment, in every shadow, in every small flame that still burns. Water trickles from a crack in the courtyard floor, pooling softly near a moss-covered stone. Its movement is slow and deliberate, carrying the faintest reflection of sky and sun. You float above it, noticing how even broken paths and fragmented spaces hold beauty in their quiet rhythm. The water seems to sing, soft and low, a gentle song of persistence. From above, the wind stirs the hanging vines and leaves, brushing against broken tiles and old bells. Their rustle forms a calm, natural music, each note soft and irregular, carrying the echoes of the past. You drift with the sound, letting it settle into your chest and mind. Here, amidst fire and stone, the world still breathes softly, and you are carried along by its slow pulse. A small child enters the courtyard, carrying a simple flower. They place it gently among the stones, kneeling for a moment in quiet reflection. You float closer, noticing the purity of their gesture. No words are needed, only the calm presence of offering. Even in the ruins, devotion flows, soft and enduring, like a river moving slowly through the landscape of memory. The sun tilts lower, brushing gold across the tops of pillars and the edges of fallen tiles. Shadows stretch and fold, moving like soft water over the courtyard. You drift along with them, feeling the slow passage of time, the gentle folding of light and dark. The temple, though touched by fire and stone, continues to hold its calm heart, and you rest in that presence. A bell tolls one last time as evening approaches, faint and delicate. Its sound drifts across the courtyard, carrying a quiet message of persistence and peace. You float with it, feeling each vibration settle softly in the stones, in the air, in your own mind. The echoes fade slowly, leaving a tender calm in their wake. Let us drift onward, moving through quiet ruins, gentle flames, and soft water. Let us linger among broken bells and scattered tiles, feeling the slow endurance of memory and devotion. Now rest, as the stars return to the sky, and the temple's gentle heart cradles you in its unbroken calm. Twilight drifts softly across the temple courtyard, brushing the stones with pale gold and gentle shadow. You float slowly, carried by the faint hum of air moving between arches and pillars. Every stone here is quiet yet full of presence, a patient witness to countless days and nights. The sun dips lower, and the world outside seems to slow, leaving only this soft, enduring space. The statues that line the inner corridors stand still, carved long ago by hands that moved with devotion and care. Their faces are calm, eyes half closed or gently gazing forward, serene and unhurried. You drift closer to them, feeling the subtle warmth of sun and stone. Each figure seems alive in its stillness, a gentle presence that watches over all who enter the temple. Soft wind brushes through open archways, carrying a faint scent of incense, dust, and distant flowers. It moves around the statues, twisting in slow spirals, and you float with it, letting it guide you past guardians and icons alike. The carvings on the walls depict ancient stories, soft lines of gods and humans, animals and rivers, stars and moons. Each curve of stone seems to breathe, whispering calm across the courtyard. A small bird alights on a pillar near the entrance. It tilts its head slowly, as if listening to the stones themselves. You drift closer, noticing how, even in its quiet observation, the bird mirrors the patience of the statues. The light catches its feathers in soft gold, and you feel a gentle rhythm in its movements, echoing the rhythm of the temple itself. The sun's light filters through carved windows, scattering gentle patterns across the tiled floors. Each shape of shadow and illumination moves slowly with the setting sun, tracing the contours of sacred stone. You follow these patterns as they shift, letting the soft motion cradle your mind. The temple is a place of calm endurance, a sanctuary where time seems measured not in minutes, but in presence. Within the inner shrine, a solitary candle flickers, casting long, tender shadows on the walls. The flame dances gently, illuminating carved icons with warm, golden light. You float past it, noticing the delicate way shadows move across faces that have not changed in centuries. Each figure seems to breathe softly, not with breath, but with the slow pulse of devotion embedded in stone. A faint murmur drifts from the far courtyard, soft chanting from visitors who have come to honor the temple. Their voices rise and fall like water rippling over stone, low and calm. You drift among the sound, letting it wrap around your spirit. Even in the quiet distance, the devotion resonates with the statues, filling the space with gentle presence and timeless calm. The weathered carvings along the corridor walls tell stories of humans and gods, of devotion and courage, of struggles long past. You float slowly, noticing each line, each curve, the patience of the sculptor evident in every detail. Though time has softened some edges, the essence remains, a quiet endurance that mirrors your own soft breathing, slow and steady. Outside, the garden moves lightly in the wind. Leaves stir, petals drift across stone paths, and small fountains ripple with gentle, deliberate motion. You follow the water, letting it guide your thoughts like a soft current. Each drop carries a memory of countless mornings, of prayers whispered softly, of quiet hands placing flowers in offering. A monk moves along the courtyard, barefoot and deliberate, brushing past columns and statues with careful hands. He does not disturb the calm. Instead, he adds to it. You float beside him, sensing the slow rhythm of his steps and breath. The air seems to pause in respect, carrying the soft echo of his devotion through every corner of the temple. From the high arches, soft light filters down, illuminating niches where small statues of gods and spirits are tucked. Their faces are serene, some chipped and worn by time, yet each holds a quiet strength. You drift closer, noticing how the faint light catches details that were invisible moments ago. The temple's silent watchers seem to notice you, not with eyes of judgment, but with gentle acknowledgement, as though inviting you to rest within their calm. The wind shifts, lifting incense smoke in lazy spirals. You float with it, following the curves of air as it wraps around statues, brushes over stone reliefs, and rises to the sky. The smoke carries with it faint whispers of prayers long past, each one lingering in the air as a soft presence. The stones seem to hold these whispers, breathing them slowly into the space around you. A bell rings somewhere further along the corridors, faint and delicate. Its chime is soft, almost swallowed by the quiet of the evening. You drift toward it, feeling the gentle vibration pass through the stones and into your own body. The sound is not loud or demanding, but steady, like the slow pulse of the temple itself, reminding you of patience and continuity. In one corner, a small shrine holds a cluster of weathered icons, their features softened by centuries. You float past them, noticing the delicate lines that remain, the careful folds of robes and the serene curves of faces. Though they have endured storms, fire, and the passing of countless seasons, their calm is unbroken. You feel the quiet power of endurance in every carved surface, in every shadow that rests upon them. The sky darkens slowly, soft indigo stretching above the temple roof. Stars begin to peek through, gentle points of light that mirror the calm presence of the statues below. You drift upward in spirit, following their subtle glow, letting it remind you of the patience and resilience embedded in both stone and air. A gentle breeze stirs the garden again, lifting petals and leaves. You float alongside them, noticing how they twist and turn, moving softly over fountains and broken tiles. The wind carries a quiet song, a soft melody of calm and gentle persistence. Even the small bird that remains on the pillar tilts its head, seeming to listen with the statues, part of the quiet congregation of watchers. Inside the shrine, the candle flickers in the evening air, casting dancing light on carved icons. The figures seem almost alive in the glow, their eyes soft, their hands gentle, their presence patient. You drift slowly past, allowing the warmth and calm to seep into your mind, carrying with it a deep, soft awareness of enduring devotion. The temple's courtyards are empty now, save for the faint echo of distant footsteps and the gentle rustle of leaves. Each stone seems to hold the memory of those who have passed before, breathing their devotion softly into the air. You drift among the pillars, arches, and niches, letting the quiet rhythm of the temple pulse gently through your own chest. Soft light reflects on a small pool, still and clear. You float above the water, noticing how it mirrors the carvings, the statues, the flickering candle, and the last traces of sunset. The water moves slowly, only with the smallest ripple, carrying the gentle reflections like a soft story across the temple floor. You drift along, your mind mirroring this calm flow, steady and unhurried. The carvings along the upper walls catch the last light, casting long, gentle shadows. Each line seems to stretch, holding centuries within it. You drift closer to trace the shapes with your awareness, noticing the patient hands that shaped them, the devotion that guided them, and the quiet endurance that has kept them intact. The temple breathes with their presence, steady and calm. A faint hum of distant chanting rises again, low and delicate as though carried by the wind itself. You drift among the notes, letting them settle around you, filling empty spaces with gentle warmth. Even the smallest echoes seem to carry significance here, reminders that devotion, however quiet, endures through time. The stars above begin to glow more clearly, their soft points of light mirrored in tiny reflections on polished stone floors and the still waters of fountains. You float among them, feeling a deep calm in the quiet symmetry of sky and stone. The temple's silent watchers, statues, carvings, and icons, stand as quiet companions in this peaceful, slow-moving world. Now the candlelight fades gently, leaving only the soft shimmer of twilight and starlight. The wind carries one last whisper of incense through the temple corridors. You drift slowly, feeling the enduring presence of these ancient watchers in every stone, every shadow, every reflection. The temple is calm, the guardians are patient, and you are held in their quiet, gentle rhythm. Let us drift onward, moving softly through arches, shadows, and fountains. Let us rest among the silent watchers, their calm a mirror for our own. Now rest, as the stars return fully to the sky, and the temple's enduring heart cradles you in a gentle, unbroken calm. Twilight rests upon the river's edge, soft and golden, as if the world itself sighs in quiet remembrance. You drift slowly, carried by the gentle murmur of water over stones, noticing how each ripple reflects the light of temples and trees along the shore. The river moves without hurry, remembering flames that once touched the land, yet flowing onward with a calm, patient grace. The water carries soft echoes of the past, broken beams, Scattered tiles and charred wood drift lightly, touched by the current but not consumed by it. Each fragment seems to hold a story, a gentle memory of hands that built, prayed, or lingered here before. You float alongside these memories, noticing the quiet persistence of life even after fire has passed. Soft wind moves across the river, lifting faint scents of incense and earth from distant temples. The air bends gently over the water, curling around reeds and smooth stones. You follow it, letting the calm rhythm of river and breeze guide your spirit. Even where the world bears traces of past chaos, the water speaks of patience and continuity. Along the banks, small temples gaze toward the river, their walls mirrored in gentle waves. You drift closer, noticing the soft light that touches carved figures and painted reliefs. The colors are faded, yet they hold a quiet beauty, a calm that endures even when time has softened their edges. Each reflection seems like a whisper, inviting slow, deep breaths and quiet observation. The river twists gently through stone arches, carrying petals, leaves, and tiny fragments of history in its wake. You float alongside, noticing how each piece moves with delicate persistence. Nothing hurries here, nothing demands attention. Even the broken pieces carry the same slow, steady rhythm as the water itself. A heron lifts from the riverbank, wings wide and silent, its shadow stretching across the surface of the water. You drift beneath it, feeling the soft brush of wind it creates. Its presence is quiet, patient, like the river itself. Even as it rises and moves, it leaves only gentle ripples, echoing the calm continuity of life along this waterway. Sunlight touches the river in scattered patches, illuminating floating leaves and tiny waves with warm gold. Each glimmer is like a memory of past devotion, silent prayers, whispered chants, hands folded over stones. You float with the light, letting it warm your mind and body, reminding you that calm persists, even when shadows of destruction linger. The river widens, moving past small shrines tucked into the banks. Tiny offerings of flowers and incense drift on the surface, their colors and scents mingling with the water. You drift closer, noticing how the currents fold around them gently, carrying each small gift downstream with care. The water remembers these offerings, holding their calm presence in each subtle ripple. Along the opposite bank, ancient trees lean toward the river, their branches brushing the surface. Leaves drift slowly, almost imperceptibly, moving with the current. You drift with them, feeling the quiet rhythm of the river mirrored in each soft movement. Even the smallest gesture seems part of a vast, enduring calm. The soft murmur of water over stones is like a lullaby, low and steady. You follow its path, noticing how it wraps around broken tiles, moss-covered rocks, and the foundations of temples touched by fire. Each obstacle bends the current, yet it never stops, never hurries. The river carries memory, patience, and gentle renewal all in a single, continuous breath. A small fish leaps from the water, arcs of silver breaking the reflection of sky and temple walls. You drift closer, watching the ripples spread outward, washing over pebbles and reeds. Each movement is soft and deliberate, a quiet lesson in the resilience of life, in how water carries all things gently forward. The river turns beneath a small stone bridge, its arches dark yet welcoming. Shadows fold across the water, soft and slow, like the closing of eyes in deep meditation. You drift beneath the bridge, feeling the cool shade and the gentle passage of water above. Even here in dimness, the river's calm continues, holding memory and reflection in equal measure. Along the banks, patches of moss and small flowers cling to stone and earth. They sway gently in the wind, their motion subtle and tender. You drift past, noticing how life persists in the quietest ways, how small presences can carry a calm energy across a larger shifting landscape. The river moves past them all, carrying their essence softly downstream. A bell tolls from a distant temple, faint and round. Its sound floats across the water, echoing lightly against stone and riverbank. You drift toward the tone, feeling it merge with the soft murmur of flowing water. Each vibration folds into the current, touching reeds, petals, and fragments of wood, blending the past with the present in gentle harmony. The river bends again, widening and deepening, reflecting the sky's soft twilight. Clouds drift slowly, mirrored perfectly in the water's surface. You float with the reflection, feeling the calm of the sky fold into your own breathing. Even as the river remembers fire and destruction, it also mirrors the enduring beauty of sky, earth, and human care. Along the shore, a monk kneels in quiet devotion, letting the water lap softly at his feet. You drift closer, noticing the gentle arc of his hands, the slow, tender rhythm of his breath. The river carries his presence, reflecting it in soft waves and distant echoes. Here, devotion meets nature, and calm flows effortlessly between stone, water, and spirit. Soft petals float past, carried gently on the current. You drift with them, letting their delicate motion guide your awareness. Each one brushes against the river's surface like a whispered memory, blending with reeds, stones, and fragments of offering. The water does not forget, but neither does it cling. It moves with patience, carrying every trace with quiet care. The river narrows now, winding through tall reeds that bend in the wind. Shadows stretch across the water, soft and slow, like hands reaching gently toward the current. You float among them, noticing how light and shadow fold together, carrying the essence of past days and nights, of prayers offered and received, of calm preserved through centuries. A heron returns to the water's edge, dipping its beak lightly into the stream. The ripples spread outward, soft and steady, echoing the river's gentle rhythm. You drift alongside, feeling your breath slow with each movement, matching the quiet, enduring pulse of the water. Even in moments of reflection and memory, life flows forward with calm persistence. The sun dips low, scattering gold across the ripples. Each glimmer seems to hold a story, a temple touched by flame, a bell long silenced, a prayer whispered softly in dawn light. You drift among them, letting the gentle reflection wrap around you. The river carries all of it with tender patience, softening edges and smoothing memory into calm continuity. In the distance, the river curves beneath an old stone archway, where moss drapes in quiet strands. Water laps softly against stone, each tiny motion a reminder of endurance. You float with it, noticing how the current weaves together sky, temple, stone, and leaf in a slow, gentle harmony. Even traces of past destruction are softened, carried forward in calm and gentle rhythm. The twilight deepens, stars beginning to mirror themselves in the darkening water. Each point of light folds into the river's reflection, creating a soft tapestry of sky, stone, and water. You drift among them, letting the calm of river and stars merge into your own mind. Here, time slows. Here, past and present meet in quiet reflection. A single bell tolls faintly in the distance, carried by the wind and river alike. You float toward its sound, feeling the resonance settle gently within you. Each vibration folds over broken tiles, petals, reeds, and moss, carrying a gentle, enduring calm. Even as the river remembers flames and destruction, it also carries renewal, reflection, and the quiet persistence of devotion. Now the river narrows into quiet pools, reflecting only the soft light of stars and the last traces of sunset. You float gently among them, noticing the calm in every small ripple, in every shadow, in every leaf drifting across the surface. The river holds memory and renewal equally, soft and patient, inviting your own breath to slow and settle. Let us drift onward, moving with the gentle currents past shrines and arches, past reeds and petals. Let us rest within the river's calm, remembering the flames without fear, and feeling the quiet renewal they leave behind. Now rest, as the stars return fully to the sky, and the soft waters cradle you in their gentle, enduring embrace. Twilight drifts slowly across the temple walls, softening every edge and folding shadows gently over courtyards and corridors. You float lightly through this quiet space, noticing how the sun's last light touches stone and tile with gold and rose. Even in the fading day, the temple seems alive, breathing softly with a calm, enduring rhythm. The air carries the faint scent of incense and earth. It moves in gentle waves, curling around pillars and statues, brushing across worn stone floors. You drift with it, letting the softness guide your awareness. The temple has lived through fire, storms, and time, yet it holds a hush that soothes all who enter. Candles flicker along narrow pathways, casting delicate light across carvings of gods, animals, and ancient symbols. Each flame bends softly in the night breeze, painting shadows that dance slowly across walls and arches. You drift past them, feeling their warmth without heat, their calm presence without words. Even in darkness, the temple radiates gentle attention. From the upper galleries, faint chanting rises, almost swallowed by the hush of night. Voices are low, soft, like water flowing over pebbles. You float with the sound, noticing how it threads through arches and empty halls, touching every surface with reverent calm. Even broken tiles and weathered carvings seem to hum in response. The shadows of trees stretch across courtyards, leaves trembling in the gentle wind. You drift beneath them, watching how moonlight begins to filter through branches, tracing patterns on stone and sand. Each movement is soft, deliberate, slow, an unhurried conversation between earth, sky, and temple. A small pool reflects the night sky, perfectly still. Stars shimmer on its surface, twinkling as if aware of the temple below. You float above it, letting your gaze drift along constellations mirrored in water. The pool carries light and shadow alike, whispering that even darkness holds beauty and calm. Along the corridors, statues stand in quiet vigil. Their faces are serene, eyes half closed, hands folded or raised in blessing. Time has softened some features, yet each figure radiates a patience that is older than memory. You drift among them, feeling the quiet energy of centuries of devotion resting gently in their stone forms. A faint rustle of leaves is followed by the soft clink of a distant bell. You float toward the sound, noticing how it drifts through the night air, weaving among shadows and columns. The bell does not startle. It merely reminds you of presence, of continuity, of the patient heartbeat of sacred space. In a small shrine tucked beneath an archway, a single candle flickers against carved icons. You drift close, noticing the gentle curves of each figure, the soft lines of hands and robes. Even in dim light, their calm is tangible, and you feel it settle over your shoulders like a slow, warm breath. The night enfolds all, softening edges, smoothing memory, and holding devotion quietly in its arms. Soft wind lifts petals from offering baskets, scattering them lightly across stone floors and into pools of moonlight. You drift with them, noticing how even the smallest movements are full of grace. Each petal tells a story of reverence, of careful hands, of silent reflection. The temple holds them in its memory, just as it holds every prayer whispered in daylight or night. From a distant tower, another bell tolls, low and round, echoing gently against walls and arches. Its tone merges with the hush of wind and the soft ripple of fountains. You float with it, feeling the vibration move slowly through stone, air, and water. Every corner of the temple seems to resonate with calm, a gentle affirmation of enduring presence. Along the outer walkways, trees sway lightly, their branches brushing against lanterns and carved railings. Shadows shift across broken tiles and moss-covered stones, forming soft patterns that change with each breath of wind. You drift among them, sensing the temple's rhythm as steady and patient, like a heartbeat beneath all creation. The chanting rises once more, soft and distant, fading in and out with the night breeze. You drift closer, letting each note wrap around your chest and mind. Even in darkness, devotion continues, flowing through corridors, across steps, and into quiet corners. Each voice becomes part of the temple itself, a gentle thread of continuity woven into stone and shadow. Along the courtyard walls, lanterns hang, their light warm and subtle. You drift past them, noticing how shadows bend and fold, creating gentle movement that is almost hypnotic. Each flicker seems to carry a memory of prayers, of quiet contemplation, of the hush that follows every day's activity. The night softens all, wrapping everything in calm presence. A small owl perches atop a broken pillar, its eyes glinting in the moonlight. You float near, sensing the patience in its gaze. The bird watches without judgment, a quiet companion in the temple's slow rhythm. Even in its stillness, there is a gentle lesson: to observe, to wait, to be fully present without haste. The night deepens, stars fully emerging in the indigo sky. Their reflection shimmers faintly in pools and fountains. You drift among these reflections, noticing how light and shadow fold together in perfect balance. The temple, though scarred by time and weather, holds steady in its calm, as if every wall, arch, and carving is breathing softly in the hush of night. Along a narrow corridor, a monk moves slowly, lighting candles and adjusting offerings. Each step is deliberate, measured, and silent. You float beside him, feeling the rhythm of his presence as part of the temple's quiet pulse. Even his small gestures contribute to the sense of enduring calm, like notes in a delicate, unhurried melody. From the inner sanctum, faint murmurs of prayers reach the outer halls. They blend with the soft sigh of wind and the distant chime of bells, creating a layered soundscape that is steady and gentle. You drift among these layers, letting each one settle softly in your mind, a lullaby woven from devotion, presence, and patience. The air is cool now, carrying a trace of night flowers and damp stone. You float through corridors and courtyards, noticing the way the temple seems to fold itself around you, guiding every step with quiet intention. Shadows stretch and bend, tiles glimmer faintly, and the soft breath of the earth beneath reaches upward to meet the night. A single candle flickers in a far niche, throwing dancing light across carvings that have endured fire, storms, and years of sun. You drift toward it, feeling the warmth and calm it radiates. Each flicker holds a story of continuity, of care, of gentle observation, and you let it fill your mind with steady, unhurried peace. From the outer walls, wind brushes across hanging bells, lifting faint, irregular tones that echo softly through the night. You drift with these sounds, feeling them blend seamlessly with the rustle of leaves, the lap of water in fountains, and the faint murmur of chanting. Even the smallest notes carry presence, a reminder that calm can endure through every detail. The moon rises higher, casting silver across the temple's roof and courtyards. Shadows fold gently across fallen tiles and moss-covered stones. You drift among them, noticing how light and darkness move together in slow, deliberate patterns. The temple holds all of it: the day's end, the night's hush, the memory of devotion, the quiet pulse of presence, and offers it to you in gentle rhythm. A faint ripple moves across a pool, carrying reflections of lanterns and stars alike. You float above it, letting the motion slow your own breath. The water mirrors the night, the temple, and your mind, creating a soft, continuous space for reflection and calm. Even where darkness lingers, there is beauty and gentle presence. Let us drift onward, moving softly along corridors, courtyards, and pools. Let us rest among candles and carved figures, letting the hush of night settle fully in our minds. Now rest, as the stars return to the sky and the temple's enduring calm cradles you in gentle, unbroken peace. Twilight lingers softly across the land, folding the last warmth of the sun into the horizon. You drift through the quiet, noticing how the air smells faintly of earth and char, yet carries a strange sweetness, a trace of incense and old devotion. Ashes blanket the ground, delicate and soft, like snow settling over forgotten paths. The temple walls, once towering and bright, now stand with gentle scars, blackened edges softened by time and shadow. You float slowly along the perimeter, noticing each curve of stone, each etched symbol, each small fragment that survived the fire. Even in ruin, there is presence, patience, and care. The wind moves lightly, stirring ashes and petals together in a slow, curling dance. You drift with it, feeling the quiet movement carry memory across the courtyard. Every particle of ash seems to hold a story, of hands that built, prayers that rose, devotion that lingered even in the heat of flames. Soft candlelight flickers among the rubble, tiny points of warmth and color in the cool shadow of evening. You float closer, noticing how the flames bend around broken tiles and scorched stone, illuminating small offerings left behind. Each light is a gentle heartbeat, a testament to enduring reverence, a calm pulse that whispers of patience and presence. A small bird alights upon a partially collapsed column, its feathers glimmering in the last rays of sun. You drift near, sensing the quiet energy it brings. Even here, where destruction has left its mark, life moves slowly, carefully, folding the lessons of fire into delicate movement. The bird lifts, wings brushing the air with soft rhythm, carrying memory onward. Along the outer walls, carved reliefs are blackened and softened, yet still radiate a calm dignity. You drift past them, noticing how the shadows curl gently across each etched figure, how light and ash meet in quiet dialogue. There is no rush, no fear, only the patient witness of stone and the quiet presence of human care woven into its memory. The courtyard holds pools of still water, mirrors for sky and ruined roof alike. You float above, watching how the surface reflects flickering candlelight and distant stars. Even in shadow, the water carries serenity, gently reminding the spirit that beauty can persist in quiet, subtle ways. Every ripple seems like a soft exhale, releasing the tension of fire and loss, making room for calm. Petals and fragments of leaves drift over the ashes, carried by the night wind in a slow, deliberate dance. You drift with them, noticing how gentle motion can carry stories forward. Each movement is soft, almost tender, tracing paths across stone and sand. The temple's quiet endurance is mirrored in the smallest gestures, reminding you of continuity and gentle presence. From a distant corner, a bell tolls softly, low and round. The sound travels over broken walls and pools, folding across ashes and shadows. You drift toward the tone, letting it settle gently in your mind. The bell does not judge or command. It simply acknowledges what was and what continues to be quiet devotion in all forms. A faint breeze lifts scorched incense, mingling it with earth and water. You float through it, letting the scent anchor you to this space, to the calm rhythm of presence. Even the remnants of destruction are embraced here, softened by wind, light, and the patient passage of time. Nothing hurries, nothing disturbs the enduring serenity. Along the inner courtyard, fragments of temple offerings lie scattered. Bowls, petals, and beads shimmer softly in candlelight. You drift among them, noticing how each piece tells of devotion, care, and attention. Even in displacement, each fragment maintains dignity, carried gently by air, shadow, and reflection. The spirit moves slowly, tracing each story with soft, careful attention. Trees at the edges of the courtyard sway in the evening wind, their branches brushing gently against ruined stone. Leaves rustle softly, carrying the hush of night into every corner. You float beneath them, noticing the quiet patterns of light and shadow that shift with each motion. The ruined temple and the living earth fold together, moving in slow, deliberate rhythm. A small flame flickers in the center of the courtyard, tended by hands that move carefully, deliberately. You drift toward it, sensing its warmth and the calm energy it radiates. The flame folds around broken tiles and charred wood without effort, offering a quiet, steady presence. Even in the heart of destruction, it shines without hurry, soft and serene. The river nearby glimmers faintly in the moonlight, carrying reflections of the ruined temple and distant stars. You float toward it, noticing how the gentle current moves ashes, petals, and memories downstream. The water holds them tenderly, softening edges, smoothing the past into calm continuity. You drift with it, carried by the slow, deliberate rhythm of renewal. Along the perimeter, stone guardians stand, their features softened by fire and wind. You drift among them, sensing the patience in each carved face, the quiet endurance in each folded hand. Even in ruin, their presence radiates calm, offering gentle lessons of patience, reverence, and continued witness to devotion over time. A soft chant rises in the distance, faint and echoing across the courtyard. You drift toward it, letting the gentle vibration blend with the whispering wind, the lapping river, and the flickering candlelight. Each note folds across stone and ash, carrying quiet memory, reflection, and calm renewal. The temple breathes again, slowly, tenderly, as night embraces all that remains. Petals drift past your vision, mingling with ashes in the courtyard. You follow them, noticing how gentle motion can transform remnants of fire into a tender, living pattern. Every small gesture, every drifting leaf, every ripple in the water holds a soft lesson, that even in endings, calm and beauty endure. From a collapsed archway, moonlight filters softly across pools of water and scattered tiles. You float beneath it, feeling the quiet illumination wrap over stone and ash. Shadows fold slowly in its glow, softening scars and revealing gentle traces of devotion. Even in ruin, the night carries presence, patience, and calm. A small lizard moves across the stones, careful and deliberate. You drift near, sensing the quiet energy of its passage. Even life here follows slow, attentive rhythm, moving across ashes and shadows without hurry. Each movement, no matter how small, contributes to the soft pulse of the temple at night. Along a fallen pillar, moss and tiny plants cling to charred stone. You drift past them, noticing how life emerges quietly even in the heart of destruction. Each green tendril, each small bloom, is a testament to renewal, to patience, and to the gentle endurance of nature. The spirit moves slowly among them, feeling the calm of persistence and care. A distant bell tolls once more, soft and round. You float toward its echo, noticing how it folds across ruins, water, and moss. The sound carries presence, memory, and calm, blending the past with the quiet rhythm of now. Even in the hush of night, the temple breathes, resting in continuity and soft attention. The wind lifts ashes and petals into slow spirals, dancing across stone and water. You drift with them, letting your awareness follow the gentle patterns, noticing how movement itself can soothe and calm. Each small trace of fire, each echo of devotion, folds gently into the night, leaving a space for quiet reflection. Along the far walls, a single candle flickers in remembrance. You drift closer, noticing how its light folds softly across scorched tiles and carved stone. Even a small flame can illuminate the quiet, holding memory, reverence, and calm in one tender gesture. The night embraces it fully, allowing its warmth to touch every shadow. A heron glides silently above the river, wings wide, tracing slow arcs in the moonlight. You float beneath it, sensing the gentle pulse of motion in the quiet night. Life and memory move together here, across ashes and water, stone and shadow, in patient, unhurried harmony. The night deepens, stars reflected in pools and ripples. You drift among them, letting the calm of river, temple, and sky fold into your mind. Even in the aftermath of fire, even amid scattered ashes, there is beauty, presence, and enduring reverence. The spirit moves slowly, carried by gentle currents, soft winds, and the patient light of candles and stars. Let us drift onward, past ruined walls and fallen tiles, past flickering flames and reflective pools. Let us rest in the quiet of the night, allowing ashes, water, stone, and sky to cradle the spirit in enduring calm. Now rest as the stars return fully to the sky, and the soft, patient embrace of sacred space enfolds you completely. Dusk settles softly over the temple grounds, folding the last warmth of sunlight into gentle shadows. You drift through the open courtyard, noticing how light bends across stone pillars, tracing the carved figures with soft, golden strokes. Each pillar seems to breathe slowly, carrying whispers of centuries past. The air is filled with faint scents of incense, earth, and flowering shrubs. Soft breezes stir leaves, brushing them across worn stone floors. You float gently with the wind, feeling the calm rhythm of the temple as it folds around you, guiding your presence with quiet attention. Carved reliefs along the pillars glow faintly in the twilight, each etched figure telling stories without words. You drift past them slowly, letting your eyes linger on the gentle curves of hands raised in blessing, the soft expressions of serene faces, and the tiny details that time has preserved. Every mark speaks of devotion, patience, and enduring memory. The shadows stretch long across courtyards and corridors, mingling with pools of reflected sky. Water mirrors lantern light, flickering softly across the stone and casting gentle, moving patterns. You float above, noticing how each reflection seems to ripple with the echoes of quiet prayer and reverent footsteps from generations past. A distant bell tolls slowly, its sound vibrating through the temple walls and archways. You drift toward it, feeling its low hum settle gently over every pillar and carved figure. Even broken or weathered stones respond to the bell, vibrating with silent memory, each one holding fragments of history in patient endurance. Among the pillars, small offerings remain, petals, grains, and tiny folded leaves placed carefully by hands that have long since passed. You drift over them, noticing how the smallest gestures carry deep meaning. Even in stillness, each offering hums softly, a quiet thread connecting the past to this moment of calm reflection. A soft breeze stirs the air, lifting the petals and carrying them slowly across stone floors. You follow their motion, watching how light and shadow meet in gentle patterns. The temple does not hurry, nor do its pillars. They simply hold memory with patience, whispering a quiet presence that settles softly in your mind. Along the outer walkways, stone guardians stand watch, their expressions calm and unhurried. You drift past them, sensing the steady pulse of their observation. Even in stillness, they hold knowledge of devotion, survival, and gentle endurance, offering reassurance without a single word. In a distant gallery, lanterns are lit, casting flickering light over carved walls and arches. You float softly along, noticing how every line and figure seems alive in the gentle illumination. The shadows bend and fold around each pillar, highlighting the care taken in every curve, every mark etched by hands long gone. The soft murmur of distant chanting drifts through the corridors, merging with the evening breeze. You drift along, letting the sound wrap around you like a warm, gentle blanket. Each note touches stone and memory alike, a soothing rhythm that slows the breath and quiets thought. Pools of water glimmer in scattered courtyards, reflecting the first stars of evening. You drift over them, noticing how each ripple carries reflections of carved figures, flickering lanterns, and the deep indigo sky. Even broken tiles and moss-covered stones are captured in the water's calm mirror, resting gently in memory and light. Small birds alight atop the pillars, their feathers catching the last glow of sunlight. You drift closer, noticing how they move with patience, hopping softly along stone edges, their presence delicate and deliberate. Even in silence, they add life to the quiet rhythm of the temple, a gentle accompaniment to the pulse of memory that flows through every carved surface. The pillars rise like sentinels, holding stories in each line and curve. You float among them, letting their weight of history and devotion settle softly around your mind. Every figure carved into stone is a keeper of memory, a silent witness to ritual, devotion, and the quiet endurance of human spirit. Along a shaded corridor, petals drift down from offering baskets, landing softly across stone and moss. You follow their gentle motion, noticing how they fold into shadows and light, carrying the essence of reverence into every corner. Even in their smallness, they contribute to the soft, unhurried pulse of presence that fills the temple. From a distant tower, another bell rings, its tone carrying across pillars and courtyards. You float with it, letting the vibration spread slowly over stone and water, folding into every shadow and corner. The sound reminds you of continuity, of devotion held through years, and of the gentle patience embedded in every pillar, carving, and curve. The wind stirs gently, lifting fallen petals and curling them around pillar bases. You drift alongside them, noticing how even in movement there is calm. Each motion is deliberate, slow, and unhurried, like the passage of memory across time. Even in ruin or wear, the pillars carry their stories with serene dignity. Along the outer courtyard, soft lantern light reflects off water, casting moving patterns across broken tiles and etched stone. You drift among them, noticing how light and shadow fold together, painting quiet tailies across surfaces. Each ripple and flicker is part of the temple's rhythm, a slow, meditative song that hums through pillars and walls. A gentle hum rises from the ground itself, almost imperceptible, like the temple's own heartbeat. You float above it, feeling the subtle vibration in your chest and mind. It speaks of enduring devotion, of centuries of quiet reflection, of soft reverence that continues even when voices fall silent. Along the inner hallways, small carved niches hold candles and offerings. You drift past them slowly, noticing how light bends across stone figures, illuminating details that might otherwise be forgotten. Each gesture, each curve is preserved in calm stillness, carrying memory gently into the night. A small owl perches atop a pillar, blinking slowly as dusk deepens into night. You drift near, sensing the quiet patience in its gaze. Even in silence, it observes the temple's rhythm, a companion to stone, water, and candlelight. Its presence blends seamlessly into the soft, unhurried pulse that fills the sacred space. The temple air carries faint murmurs of water, leaves, and distant bells. You drift gently, letting each sound mingle, fold, and rest in your mind. Each one is soft, deliberate, and calming, forming a gentle rhythm that slows thought and eases the heart. Across the central courtyard, moss and tiny plants grow between stones, nurtured by gentle rain and time. You drift among them, noticing how life persists softly, folding into ruins and carvings alike. Even in places touched by fire or decay, growth finds calm, and memory flows gently through stone and root alike. Lanterns sway slightly in the evening breeze, casting flickering shadows across pillars and archways. You drift past, letting the movement lull your mind, softening edges and folding the long day into quiet reflection. The temple itself seems to breathe slowly with the night, embracing memory, presence, and calm. A soft chorus of insects rises in the distance, blending with the faint hum of water and the rustle of leaves. You float through it, letting the layered sounds become a gentle backdrop for stillness. Every note, every vibration seems to acknowledge patience, reverence, and enduring care embedded in the temple's stones. Along the far walls, carvings catch the last light of lanterns and stars. You drift closer, noticing the serene faces, folded hands, and subtle gestures that speak without words. Each figure holds memory patiently, a keeper of devotion and reflection that flows slowly through every corridor and courtyard. The air grows cooler, carrying the soft scent of earth, stone, and moss. You drift among pillars, observing shadows, flickering lanterns, and tiny reflections in puddles and pools. The temple's presence is steady, calm, and all-encompassing, wrapping memory, devotion, and quiet observation around every corner. A distant bell tolls once more, soft and lingering. You float with the sound, noticing how it folds across stone, water, and shadow, linking each pillar and carving in a gentle, unbroken rhythm. The temple hums quietly with memory, presence, and patience, and you feel it settle in your chest like a slow, steady breath. Let us drift onward, moving softly among carved pillars, calm courtyards, and gentle lantern light. Let memory and devotion, stone and shadow, fold gently around the spirit. Now rest, as the stars settle fully in the sky and the quiet, patient pulse of sacred space cradles you completely. The evening air carries a quiet hush, folding the day into soft twilight. You drift slowly through the temple courtyard, noticing the subtle sway of lanterns and the gentle flicker of candle flames. Each flame is small, yet steady, as if holding a secret promise against the passing wind. Stone walls rise around you, etched with figures who have witnessed centuries. Their forms seem to absorb the glow of candlelight, radiating calm and patience. You float gently past them, letting your mind rest in the rhythm of shadows and warmth. A soft breeze stirs, brushing leaves across the ground and lifting the smallest embers in delicate arcs. You drift alongside these tiny sparks, noticing how even the gentlest movement does not extinguish them. In this quiet persistence, there is a gentle lesson. Faith, like the candle, continues even when the world moves around it. Along the temple's corridors, rows of candles burn in small niches. You glide past each one, feeling the warmth spread softly into your thoughts. Each flame dances quietly, a heartbeat in the stillness, reminding you of devotion that has endured through storms and years alike. Outside, clouds gather lightly, soft and distant against a deepening sky. Yet the candles resist, flickering with calm persistence. Their light is tender, casting gentle shadows over carved stone and worn steps. You drift over the patterns, letting them fold into your awareness like a lullaby of quiet devotion. In a shaded corner, petals and grains lie beside tiny votive flames. You move gently through them, sensing the care of hands that placed them, long ago or recently, without hurry or expectation. Each offering merges with the candlelight, adding its quiet presence to the soft chorus of the temple. The wind shifts, brushing against your face with tender care. You follow its gentle path through archways and courtyards, noticing how each candle leans slightly, yet refuses to falter. Even in small trembles, the flame endures. You breathe slowly with it, letting your chest rise and fall in rhythm with its soft glow. A distant bell chimes once long and low, its echo rolling across stone walls and pillars. You float with the sound, noticing how it merges with the flickering lights, threading a delicate pattern of calm through every corridor and courtyard. Shadows bend and fold, softening edges and slowing thought. Along narrow passageways, you see tiny figures carved into the walls. Hands folded, eyes serene, gestures eternal. The candles light their faces in a gentle glow, revealing the quiet wisdom held in each curve and line. You drift past them slowly, absorbing the gentle hum of centuries embedded in stone and flame. A small bird lands atop a lantern, tilting its head at the flickering flame. You float near, noticing the delicate balance of life and light. Even in its soft presence, the bird seems at peace, a witness to the careful persistence of devotion. Its quiet breathing matches the gentle rhythm of the temple, blending seamlessly with candle and wind. The shadows lengthen across the courtyard, folding around stone benches and shallow pools of water. You drift above the reflections, noticing how each candle flame is mirrored, stretching into still waters. Even broken tiles, moss-covered stones, and scattered petals are caught in this calm mirror, settling softly into memory. Along the outer walls, small incenses burn faintly. You drift past, noticing the thin tendrils of smoke curl upward, wrapping around pillars and carvings. The scent is subtle, carrying hints of earth, flower, and warmth. Each wisp moves slowly, deliberate, as if honoring the light of the candles and the patience of the stone guardians. A faint drumbeat begins far off, steady and soft. You drift along with it, feeling the pulse in your chest, slow and unhurried. Each beat blends with the gentle glow of flame and flicker of reflection, weaving a serene rhythm that slows your mind and eases every thought into calm stillness. Inside the main hall, hundreds of tiny flames burn along the floor and on altars. You drift gently among them, noticing how they sway with the quiet air, each one a small miracle of persistence and devotion. The hall is filled with soft light, warmth, and the tender weight of long-held faith. Outside, the wind carries the scent of night flowers. You drift toward them, letting the aroma mingle with the gentle hum of candlelight. Even in subtle motion, nothing disturbs the quiet persistence of the flames. Each one seems to guard the calm of the temple, a soft beacon against the passage of years. Along a high balcony, the last rays of the sun fall across carved eaves. You drift slowly above them, watching the golden light mingle with candle glow. Shadows bend around the intricate details, highlighting patience and care carved deeply into stone. You feel your breath slow, matching the temple's gentle rhythm. A single candle trembles as a stronger gust moves through the courtyard. You drift closer, noticing its small lean and quick recovery. Even in the face of movement, its glow continues. You allow your mind to rest in the quiet lesson of this delicate persistence, folding its calm into your own heart. The air carries soft whispers of prayer, barely audible but steady, echoing across empty corridors. You float among these quiet sounds, letting them mingle with light, shadow, and reflection. Each soft murmur folds into your consciousness, creating a gentle tide of calm and serenity. Outside, trees sway softly, brushing against stone walls. Their branches move like dancers in slow motion, leaves brushing petals and lanterns alike. You drift with their rhythm, noticing how wind, leaf, and flame exist together in quiet harmony, each respecting the other's presence. Along the temple's inner gardens, small pools of water reflect flickering lights and evening skis. You drift over them, noticing ripples that mirror stars above. Each tiny disturbance flows slowly, folding back into stillness, teaching patience and gentle return. You let your awareness rest in this calm repetition, breathing softly with every reflected flicker. Candles line steps leading to the main shrine. You drift upward slowly, feeling the soft warmth rise with you. Each step carries light, shadow, and the memory of countless hands that once passed through this sacred space. Even in stillness, the temple seems alive with reverence, every flame a quiet guardian of enduring faith. The first stars appear in the deepening sky. You drift higher, observing their calm glow alongside the tender flames below. Each light, celestial or human-made, blends into a slow, reflective rhythm. You feel the gentle pull of night, wrapping the temple, the stones, and yourself in calm embrace. A final bell tolls softly, long and resonant. You drift with it, letting every echo fold over every candle, every pillar, every carved figure. Even as the wind stirs and night deepens, the lights endure, small and deliberate against passing time. You breathe with them, calm and still. Let us drift onward, floating softly past lanterns, shadows, and reflected stars. Each candle flame carries memory, devotion, and quiet endurance. Let it settle gently in your heart. Now rest as the wind slows, the night deepens, and the soft pulse of sacred flame cradles you completely. Night has softened into early morning, and the first gentle light spills over temple rooftops. You drift slowly through the courtyards, noticing the tender warmth touching the stone and the carvings, as if the day itself remembers every prayer whispered here. The air is calm, carrying the subtle scent of incense and wet earth from a quiet dawn. You float above the steps where worshippers once gathered, their presence lingering in the stillness like a soft echo. The stones beneath your gaze are smooth now, polished by time, and the edges of ruins softened by careful hands. Along the main hall, small lanterns burn with gentle persistence. Their glow reflects in the pools of water nearby, mingling with the morning light. You drift closer, noticing the way the reflections ripple with subtle movements of wind and air, each one a quiet testament to renewal. The temple's pillars stretch upward, tall and patient. Each one carries the memory of centuries, of devotion, of destruction, and of rebuilding. Carvings on their surfaces seem to breathe softly in the morning light, telling stories of resilience without hurry or judgment. You float past them slowly, letting your attention rest on the quiet dignity of each etched line. Along narrow corridors, the walls have been mended. Gaps are filled with gentle care, and broken stones are replaced with new ones that blend seamlessly with the old. The temple breathes as a living space again, and you drift with it, feeling the continuity of faith and the soft pulse of life restored. Outside, the gardens have begun to awaken. Soft breezes stir the leaves of ancient trees, and petals settle gently on the pathways. You float above the earth, noticing how the green and gold of morning mingle with the warm colors of stone and lantern light. Every detail carries a quiet serenity, a reassurance that life persists, soft and steady. Small figures of worshippers move slowly among the restored courtyards. Their hands fold in gentle reverence, eyes lowered, hearts calm. You drift alongside them, noticing the subtle radiance of devotion that does not need voice or movement to be seen. It glows softly, like the lanterns that line every pathway, gentle and unbroken. The wind carries faint sounds of song, distant and calm. You follow it softly, floating through arches and open windows. The melody is unhurried, a lullaby of devotion and patience. Each note settles gently on your mind, slowing every thought, letting your heart rise and fall with the soft rhythm of restored faith. Along the temple's highest balconies, sunlight catches on gilded edges of carvings and icons. You drift closer, noticing the glimmer of gold against the deep shadow of the stone. The contrast is tender, a reminder that light always returns, even after long darkness. Each shimmer seems to pulse gently with the memory of countless prayers offered over centuries. In the center of the courtyard, a pool reflects the sky above. You float over its calm surface, noticing how every ripple mirrors both candlelight and sunlight. The reflection folds past and present together, a gentle reminder that the spirit endures, even when the world changes. Each movement of water is slow, deliberate, and soothing, and your breath falls into rhythm with it. Along the steps leading to the main shrine, new candles are lit, their flames steady against soft morning breezes. You drift upward, letting the warmth rise around you. Each flicker is small, yet unwavering, carrying memory, devotion, and the quiet power of human hope. The stones beneath your gaze feel solid and patient, and you rest in the calm weight of time honored. Inside the shrine, altars glow softly with light. You float past them slowly, noticing the careful placement of flowers, grains, and tiny offerings. Every item is arranged with gentle intent, creating a quiet chorus of color, scent, and soft radiance. Each piece whispers a promise of care, remembrance, and renewal. A bird flutters across the hall, pausing briefly near a candle flame. Its wings move slowly, deliberately, and you follow its gentle flight. Even in motion, the bird's presence does not disturb the calm. It is part of the temple now, just as past prayers and memories are. You drift alongside it, breathing softly in time with its gentle wing beats. Outside, the gardens sway in a slow breeze. You float above the flowers, watching sunlight and shadow dance across petals. Every bloom seems to hold a quiet story, folding past hardships into soft beauty. You let your mind rest here, feeling the gentle pulse of life returning, calm and unhurried. Along the outer walls, old stones meet new with seamless care. You drift past each junction, noticing the tender patience in the lines where repairs meet ancient carvings. The temple holds both history and renewal together, a soft harmony that folds into your own awareness like a lullaby. Soft chimes echo from the tower, each note carrying slowly across courtyards and hallways. You float with the sound, letting it touch each corner of your mind, smoothing edges and easing tension. The melody is steady, like the heartbeat of the temple itself, gentle, patient, and enduring. In the central courtyard, sunlight warms the steps and pools. You drift closer, letting the light touch your awareness. Every detail, the stone, the water, the soft glow of candles, forms a quiet tapestry of calm. You notice how even after storms and destruction, a careful hand and enduring spirit restore serenity, like a breath held and released slowly. Along narrow corridors, paintings and icons are restored with tender care. Each one carries faces and gestures that feel alive again, reflecting devotion and quiet endurance. You drift past, absorbing the subtle energy of patient restoration. Even the smallest brushstroke seems to hum softly with the memory of those who came before. A distant bell tolls once, slow and gentle. You float with the resonance, feeling it ripple through every stone and candle. The sound is soft, like a reminder that light always endures, even through shadow and passage of years. Your mind folds into the calm rhythm, resting in the soft echo. Along the shaded gardens, small paths wind past fountains and gentle pools. You drift above them, noticing how every ripple, every flicker of sunlight carries the memory of both hardship and renewal. Even as wind stirs leaves, petals remain, reflecting light in delicate patterns. The world here is quiet, tender, and safe. Finally, the sun reaches its morning height, touching every stone, every carved figure, every candle flame. You drift above the temple, seeing the full harmony of light and shadow, past and present, loss and restoration. Everything is balanced, patient, and enduring. Let us drift onward, floating slowly past every glowing flame, every polished stone, every gentle ripple in water. Each detail carries calm, devotion, and quiet endurance. Let it settle softly in your heart. Now rest as the temple breathes, the light endures, and the slow, gentle pulse of faith cradles you completely.